Hi, Jeff here from Comprehensive Driving Tuition. Hope you're doing well. This little video is to go together with the video hopefully you've just watched, which is about changing gear, and it's about how you do your feet and how you do your hands and then you do your feet again. So that's the mechanism which we use for changing gear. The next question really that should come into your mind is, when do I need to change gear and which gear do I choose? Okay, well, you've got to divide this into two things. You've got to think about speeding up, and then you've also got to think about slowing down. Now, when you speed up, generally speaking, you change up one gear at a time. So you move off in first gear, you can go up to sort of 0 to 10 miles an hour in first, and then you can change into 2. And then when you're going up to nearly 20 miles an hour, you might want to get into 3. Once you're above 30 miles an hour, you might want to get into 4. Now that varies slightly from car to car, but in the car that I've got at the moment, that is roughly the case. So basically, when you're changing up, you just move off in first. When you got up a little bit of speed, up to sort of a jogging pace, maybe running a little bit faster when you get to my age, and then you change into 2, and then when you're going up to about 20 miles an hour, up into 3, and so on. Okay. And when you get up to 5th gear, you're normally doing stuff like about 45, say 50 miles an hour, somewhere around that mark. That's when you want to get into 5th gear. Okay, now that's relatively straightforward, because basically you only change up gear and go faster if the road ahead is nice and clear and there's no real problems. Okay, so the difficult bit is knowing when to slow down and which gear to choose when you're slowing down. Okay, now the basic rule of thumb is that you choose the gear that you're going to need to use to get going. Okay, because gears at the end of the day are to be used for you when you want to get going, not really for slowing down. Okay, when you slow down, you just decelerate and then brake. Okay, so say for example you're going along at say 25 miles an hour, you're in 3rd gear, and you want to come up to the end of the road and turn left. Okay, well, as you approach the end of the road, you just normally just slow down by coming off the accelerator, so you decelerate. Then you want to brake a little bit to get the speed of the car down to say about 10 miles an hour, roughly, to sort of the jogging pace. And then you want to put the clutch down. And then at the end of the road, if you can't see left or right and you can't go, then you're going to, 9 times out of 10, or even more than that, you're going to be using 1st gear. So there's no point in going into 2nd gear. So you would miss out 2nd gear and go straight from say 3rd gear to 1st gear. Another example is you're driving along and say you're doing 30 miles an hour, maybe a bit more if you're in a 40 limit. Say you're doing 35 miles an hour, you're in 4th gear, and you're looking ahead and there's a bit of a queue and you see the cars in front slowing down and braking. Well, before you randomly choose a lower gear quick, think, I must get into a lower gear quick, then just look and see what the traffic is doing. Slow your car down by deceleration and then braking, and see how slow you need to go on the basis of what the traffic is actually doing, because they might be slowing down and then they might be going again. So you want to judge your speed, slowing down. Say for example you were doing 35 miles an hour and the speed of the traffic came down to say about 15 miles an hour. Okay, then you might not want to go from 4 to 3rd. You might want to miss out 3rd and go from 4 to 2nd. Or if the traffic goes even slower and goes down to sort of like 0 or 2 or 3 miles an hour, okay, then you want to go straight into 1st gear. So in those situations, that's where you really choose the gear that you're going to need. So that's just to give you a rough idea. But basically, what you want to be doing is when you're speeding up, generally speaking, because the road is clear ahead, you normally go 1, into 2, into 3, into 4, into 5 if you're on that type of road. Okay, mostly in traffic you're going 1 to 2 to 3. That's basically it. When you're in a 30 mile an hour area, sometimes you go to 4, sometimes not. But when you're coming down the gears, you basically choose the gear that you're going to need to use to get going again. Okay, so if you're in 3rd, you might miss out 2nd and go straight to 1st. If you're in 4th, you might miss out 3rd and go straight into 2nd. Or you might miss out 3rd and 2nd and go straight into 1st. But you choose that gear at the point that you need it. Okay, so that's for generally when you're slowing down. Okay, now when you're slowing down and dealing with your junctions, we're going to be doing more of a set menu, if you like, gear change. So if you've watched the other videos on T-junctions, you'll notice that when we come to the end of the road, when the giveaway markings are, we're pretty much always going to go to first gear. Okay, there may be a few situations where you can do it in second, but mostly we do it in first gear. And when you're turning from the main roads into side roads, you're generally going to approach by going down into second gear from whichever gear you're already in. Okay, well that's a little bit about gear changes. I hope that's helped, and I'll see you on the next one.